Karen called police on a taco truck, then slashed tires and got arrested for vandalism. Have you ever wondered how far someone's anger can spiral before it consumes them? In the heart of a bustling city street, where the scent of sizzling carne asada and warm tortillas drew crowds, one woman's fury turned a lively taco truck into a battleground. Her name was Karen, and her rage would ignite a firestorm that no one saw coming. It was a warm Friday evening, and the Los Tacos Hermanos truck was parked at its usual spot on 4th Street. The line stretched around the block, filled with families, students, and workers craving authentic street tacos. Laughter and chatter mingled with the sizzle of the grill. But Karen, a middle-aged woman with a pinched expression, stood across the street, her arms crossed tightly. She'd lived in the neighborhood for years and had always complained about the truck's noise, its customers, the way it cluttered her pristine view. That night, her patience snapped. She dialed 911, her voice shrill as she reported the truck for illegal parking and disturbing the peace. The police arrived, checked the truck's permits, and left after confirming everything was in order. The crowd cheered, but Karen's face turned crimson. She wasn't done. Humiliated and seething, Karen stormed back to her apartment, her mind racing with vengeance. She couldn't stand the thought of the taco truck thriving while she felt ignored. Grabbing a kitchen knife, she slipped back to the street under the cover of dusk. The truck was still serving, its lights casting a warm glow. Karen crouched behind the rear wheel, her hands trembling as she plunged the blade into the tire. The hiss of air was drowned out by the crowd's noise, but her heart pounded with a mix of thrill and fear. She moved to the next tire, then the next, each slash fueling her rage. To her, this wasn't just about tires, it was about reclaiming control, about punishing those who dared defy her. But Karen wasn't as stealthy as she thought. A teenager named Mia, waiting in line for her tacos, noticed the glint of the knife from the corner of her eye. At first, she thought it was a prank. But when she saw Karen's frenzied movements, she pulled out her phone and started recording. Mia's best friend, Javier, a quiet kid who worked part-time at the truck, was wiping down tables nearby. He froze when he saw Karen, his stomach dropping. Javier had always been shy, but something about seeing his uncle's truck, his family's livelihood being attacked, sparked a fire in him. He didn't shout or confront her. Instead, he slipped behind the truck and texted his uncle, Miguel, the owner, who was inside cooking. Miguel burst out of the truck, his apron still on, just as Karen finished slashing the 4th tire. The crowd had started to notice, their chatter turning to gasps. "What are you doing?" Miguel bellowed, his voice cutting through the evening air. Karen spun around, the knife still in her hand, her eyes wild. "This truck doesn't belong here," she screamed. "You're ruining our neighborhood." The crowd parted, some stepping back, others pulling out their phones to record. Mia's video was already streaming live on social media, the comments flooding with outrage. "Who is this lady? She's destroying their business." Then came the twist no one expected. An older woman, Mrs. Rosa, stepped forward from the crowd. She was a regular at the truck, known for her warm smile and stories about her late husband. But tonight, her face was stern. "Karen, I know you," she said, her voice steady but sharp. "You've been complaining about this truck for years, but you never told anyone your husband used to own a food cart here. You're not angry about Noisuri jealous. They're succeeding where he failed." The crowd fell silent. Karen's face paled, her grip on the knife loosening. Mrs. Rosa's words hit like a thunderbolt, exposing a truth Karen had buried deep. Her husband's failed venture had left her bitter, and Los Tacos Hermanos was a daily reminder of that failure. The confrontation reached its peak as police sirens wailed in the distance. Karen, cornered by the crowd's stares and Miguel's towering presence, dropped the knife and tried to flee. But Javier, quiet Javier, stepped in her path, holding up his phone with a photo he'd taken of her mid-act. "You can't run from this," he said, his voice shaking but firm. The crowd erupted in cheers, not for violence, but for justice. The police arrived, and as they cuffed Karen, her defiance crumbled. She muttered excuses, claiming the truck was a nuisance, but the evidence was undeniable: Mia's video, Javier's photo, and a dozen witnesses. Karen was arrested for vandalism, her reputation in tatters. As the police car drove away, the crowd rallied around the taco truck. Miguel, shaken but resolute, offered free tacos to everyone who stayed. Mia's video went viral, sparking a citywide conversation about entitlement and community. The truck's tires were replaced within days, funded by a crowdfunding campaign started by Mrs. Rosa. Los Tacos Hermanos became more popular than ever, a symbol of resilience against petty hatred. Karen, meanwhile, faced court dates and public scorn. Her outburst had cost her far more than she'd ever imagined her pride, her freedom, and her place in the community. In the end, the taco truck stood stronger, its lights glowing brighter each night. Miguel hired Javier full-time, and Mia's courage inspired her to start a blog about local businesses. Mrs. Rose's revelation reminded everyone that behind every act of anger lies a deeper story, often one of pain. The neighborhood learned to come together, not just for tacos, but for each other. And Karen? She became a cautionary tale, a reminder that rage unchecked could destroy the one who wields it. What do you think can someone's anger ever justify harming another's livelihood? Share your thoughts, because every story like this challenges us to choose between division and unity.